There is a paradox right in front of us, and people are too busy scrolling to see it. Prehistoric people had almost nothing, yet they may have carried the very peace modern people are spending their whole lives trying to buy back. They had no phone, no car, no hotel room, no self-help seminar, no retirement account, no wellness app, no five-star resort, no social media page where they could prove they were happy. But they had real fire, real hunger, real rest, real danger, real neighbors, real dirt under their feet, real sky over their heads. And maybe, in a way that should shake us, they had a closer memory of what God meant when He made man from the dust of the ground. Now look at modern man. He can light up a whole house with one switch, but he cannot quiet one room inside his own heart. He can cross the country in a few hours, but he cannot sit still with himself for 5 minutes. He can order food without standing up, but he still feels empty. He can have thousands of friends online, but when life breaks him open, he may not know who to call. He can pay for a retreat, a breathing class, a sleep coach, a mastermind, and still come home with the same ache. That is the strange wound of our age. We are richer in tools, but poorer in presence. The prehistoric man was not living in paradise. His life was hard. A bad winter could kill him. A tooth infection could take him out. A hunt could turn bloody. A child could die. A storm could wipe away safety. There was fear, pain, hunger, jealousy, and violence. So this is not about pretending the past was easy. But hardship kept one thing clear: life was not fake. If he was hungry, he knew he was hungry. If he was cold, he looked for fire. If he was afraid, he moved closer to the tribe. If the sky changed, he watched it. If an elder spoke, he listened. Because that elder might remember where the water was, which plant healed, which plant killed, and which trail led home. The modern man lives in a softer world, but with a harder mind. He wakes up and grabs a phone before he feels his own breath. Before he hears a bird, he hears a notification. Before he knows what his soul needs, he sees somebody else's vacation, body, truck, house, and success. And without anyone saying a word, his heart hears this: you are behind. You are not enough. You have not lived enough. You have not earned enough. The prehistoric man feared wolves. The modern man fears being invisible. Anthropologist Marshall Salins once called many hunter-gatherer groups the original affluent society. That sounds crazy because they had no bank and no warehouse. But the point was simple. Some groups did not need endless work to meet basic needs. Studies of groups like the Jew Hoansi showed that food-getting time could be far less than a modern full-time job, even though care work was still real. The big lesson is not that prehistoric life was lazy or easy. The lesson is that wealth can mean wanting little, not owning much. A man who wants only what he needs can feel rich under a tree. A man who wants the whole world can feel poor inside a mansion. That is where Jesus cuts through the noise. He said, "Look at the birds of the air. They do not sow, reap, or store away in barns, yet the Father feeds them." He told people to look at the lilies of the field, how they grow without spinning cloth or showing off. He was not telling people to quit work and act foolish. He was pointing at a law of life that modern people have forgotten. Anxiety does not add life. Worry does not make the heart safe. More control does not always bring more peace. Prehistoric man knew limits because limits were all around him. He could only carry so much. Nature teaches the word enough with no fancy language. Too little water and the crop dies. Too much water and the root rots. Too little fire and the body freezes. Too much fire and the forest burns. The modern world, though, often teaches the opposite. More is always better. More money, more likes, more land, more followers, more hustle, more trips, more proof. And so the modern man runs like a horse with no pasture, chasing a finish line that keeps moving. Then came farming, storage, land, property, and surplus. Farming helped build towns, cities, writing, armies, trade, and the world we know. But it also brought heavy labor, ownership anxiety, inequality, and fights over land. Jared Diamond famously argued that agriculture may have been one of the worst mistakes in human history because it brought disease, class gaps, and hard labor along with progress. You do not have to agree with every part of that argument to see the wound. Once man could store more, he could fear losing more. The storehouse gave comfort, but it also gave birth to a new kind of fear. The prehistoric man did not need a seminar to find meaning. Meaning was baked into the day. Track the deer, feed the child, mend the tool, carry the fire, bury the dead, tell the story, stand watch at night. Every small act was tied to survival and love. Modern work is different. A man can spend 8 or 10 hours clicking boxes, moving numbers, answering emails, sitting in meetings, selling things he does not believe in, and then drive home asking, what was all that for? That is why a whole market exists to sell purpose. Some of it helps, but a lot of it is just the modern world selling back the meaning it helped steal. The prehistoric man did not buy nature. He lived in it. The forest was not a vacation package. The river was not a background for pictures. The mountain was not a brand. The night sky was not content. Nature was home, teacher, warning, food, medicine, danger, and wonder. Modern man gets pushed into concrete and screens, then pays to escape to nature for 2 days. He pays for a cabin so he can hear crickets. He pays for a camping trip so his kids can see stars. How did we build a life so unnatural that we now have to purchase small pieces of the world God already gave freely? The same thing happened to sleep. For most of human history, the sun and darkness shaped the body. Morning light woke the brain. Night told the body to slow down. Then electric light changed the human night. Edison and his team made practical electric lighting in the late 1800s, and the world never slept the same. Today, artificial light and screens can push the body clock out of rhythm and suppress melatonin, the hormone that helps the body know it is time to sleep. So, modern man stays up under blue light, drains his nervous system, and then buys sleep gummies, sleep apps, sleep trackers, blackout curtains, and expert advice to recover something the night sky used to give for free. The prehistoric man also lived inside a human-sized community. Robin Dunbar's famous idea says people can only maintain about 150 stable social relationships, give or take. Some scholars debate the exact number, but the basic idea feels true. The human heart was not built to deeply know thousands of people. Ancient bands were small enough for faces to mean something. You knew who was brave, who was funny, who lied, who could heal, who had lost a child, who needed help. Modern people live in cities full of bodies and feeds full of names, but still feel alone. A like is not love. A follow is not friendship. Being seen by many is not the same as being known by a few. This is why the modern world is so good at selling fake belonging. Paid communities, exclusive circles, VIP rooms, business networks, premium groups. Again, some are good, but many offer a thin copy of what the tribe once gave for free. To be known, needed, corrected, protected, and missed when you are gone. Prehistoric man did not need to build a tribe as a brand strategy. He needed the tribe because alone he might die. Modern man says he wants freedom, but often what he means is, I do not want anyone to need me. Then he gets that kind of freedom and discovers it feels a lot like loneliness. Here is where God comes in, not as a decoration, but as the center. In Genesis, the first man is placed in a garden. Whether Eden is read as sacred history, deep symbol, or both, the picture is powerful. Man is close to God, close to the ground, close to food, close to living things, and not yet split apart inside. Then comes the fall, and after the fall comes sweat, toil, pain, hiding, blame, fear, and the ground becomes hard. That is not just an old story. That is a mirror. Every modern man knows what it feels like to hide from God, hide from truth, hide from his own naked soul, and cover himself with achievements like fig leaves. Jesus does not offer a luxury version of peace. He does not say, "Blessed are the rich enough to buy rest." He does not say, "Blessed are those with the best vacation pictures." He does not say, "Blessed are the people with the strongest personal brand." He says, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, the meek, the merciful, the pure in heart, the peacemakers." He points away from performance and back toward the heart. The kingdom of God, he says, is not something people can point to. Here it is, or there it is. It is in your midst. It is closer than the stage, the resort, the applause, and the next purchase. Prehistoric man and Jesus expose the same lie. Peace is somewhere else. Peace is after you make more money. Peace is after you go farther. Peace is after you become famous. Peace is after you get the house, the body, the title, the partner, the followers, the truck, the farm, the lake place, the dream trip. But the old human body and the Word of God whisper something different. Peace begins when you return. Return to your breath. Return to the ground. Return to real food. Return to real rest. Return to the people who know your name. Return to limits. Return to gratitude. Return to God. This does not mean modern life is evil. Electricity is not evil. Money is not evil. Cities are not evil. Business is not evil. Travel is not evil. Technology is not evil. But when these things become masters, man becomes a servant. When money stops being a tool and becomes a god, the soul goes poor. When travel stops opening the heart and becomes a stage, the trip becomes fake. When work stops serving life and life starts serving work, the man may earn more and live less. When social media starts measuring human worth, the heart becomes a scoreboard. The answer is not to move back into a cave. The answer is to become human again. Eat one meal without a screen. Step outside in the morning light. Let night be night. Call one real person instead of performing for 1,000 strangers. Work hard, but do not worship work. Save money, but do not trust money like it is God. Take a trip, but let your soul actually arrive. Sit still long enough to hear what you have been running from. Pray before you buy another solution. Ask God, "Lord, what am I really hungry for?" Because the deepest hunger of modern man is not for luxury. It is for home. Not just a house, but home in the soul. Home with the body. Home with other people. Home with the ground. Home with the truth. Home with God. Augustine said, "The human heart is restless until it rests in God," and that may be the cleanest line ever written about the modern disease. Prehistoric man reminds us what we lost in the dust. Jesus shows us how to come home without going backward in time. So, the scary question is not, how primitive were they? The scary question is, how advanced have we become if we now have to pay to learn how to breathe, pay to sleep, pay to belong, pay to sit in silence, pay to touch grass, pay to hear the truth, and pay to feel alive? Maybe the caveman had less and suffered more, but he was not confused about fire, food, family, night, death, and need. Modern man has more of everything, except the one thing he cannot fake: peace. And God is still asking the same question he asked in the garden. Where are you? Not because he does not know, but because we have forgotten.